Frequent Miler on the Air starts now. Today's main event, Delta Diamond, devalued but not destroyed. We'll get into that after the giant mailbag and a few other standard topics that we cover every week. So
the first weekly segment up, then the mailbag. Let's drag it right out here.
That's right. So the mailbag is bigger than usual this week.
Really big.
So it's always a giant mailbag, as
right.
you know. This week it's really giant because the mail is coming from my post about frequentmiler.com being mine, all mine.
That's right. It is a mammoth mailbag this week, right? Forget about giant. It's the mammoth mailbag this week.
That's right. But we're not going to read all of it. But anyway, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, so we have switched our domain. It was previously frequentmiler.boardingarea.com.
But forget about that. Toss that right out of your mind.
Forget all about that because it's now frequentmiler.com. It took me, the past 9 years or so to finally get my grubby hands on the frequentmiler.com domain name. And so we're very excited that we finally have, a proper name for our site. We had thought about switching our domain to thefrequentmiler.com because I do own that as well, but never felt quite right. So
it just doesn't roll off the fingertips the same way.
Yeah. Also, we just don't think of the site as the Frequent Miler. It's always been Frequent Miler. And so having frequentmiler.com, perfect. Anyway, so Carrie designed all kinds of awesome swag that has frequentmiler.com written on it, right? Everything from socks to t-shirts to bottle openers to shot glasses. And so we're giving away swag. 80 different winners will be
80.
picked.
Did you hear that?
80.
80 winners? 80
right.
winners. Everybody's a winner.
No,
not everybody.
Not everybody. No.
I picture the carnival guy. Everybody's a winner. Except
everybody's a winner if they consider being able to type in frequentmiler.com and getting somewhere as a win, then everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner because they get to enjoy great content at Frequent Miler, right? And now
that's right.
Everybody's a winner because they get to type frequentmiler.com instead of frequentmiler.boardingarea.com. We're saving it from the doctor bills, the carpal tunnel, all the rest of that. Everybody's
there you go. And so if you want to be also a swag winner, what you have to do is go to our website, find the post where we're celebrating frequentmiler.com domain. It should be one of the featured articles. And then you need to leave a comment at the bottom of the post that has frequentmiler.com anywhere in the comment. So as we're talking right now, I think there's close to 800 comments. So you have right now, if the comments don't grow, you have about 1 in 10 chance of winning.
Right. Which I mean, isn't bad. You might have thought
that's pretty good.
With 80 prizes, you'd have a pretty good chance of winning, right? And I mean, 10% is pretty good. It's not as strong as I would have thought. That's an amazing response. So that's great. I mean, it's great that people are excited about the domain. We're excited about it. I'm excited because I know that Greg's been wanting this since before I was here. And so it's exciting to see it come to fruition and to have that now. So, and how exciting is it that 800 people want some of our free swag, Greg? I mean, that's awesome. That's a lot of fun. So
it is. And maybe it's credit goes to Carrie for designing some really cool looking swag.
For sure.
I know I want some of that stuff. So
I mean, I bought some. I'm not gonna lie. So
me too.
It'll be all frequent milered out. You see me in the airport, you're gonna be like, oh, that is definitely Nick. Yeah, he's got the shirt, the luggage tag, and he's carrying a coffee mug, his own coffee mug in the airport. Who does that?
Right. I was actually pretty excited. I find the face mask actually very comfortable. I think it's probably the most comfortable one I have. So that's great. So for the mailbag, I pulled out some of the comments because a lot of people, instead of just writing frequentmiler.com by itself, also added additional comments. And there's so many good ones. I would love to include them all, but that would take forever. So I picked out, I think, 5 different ones I thought I would share. And I'm just going to read them. without naming who they're from.
I'm looking forward to this because I honestly I haven't looked at many of the comments yet because it grew so exponentially fast so quickly, and I wasn't at home when the comments started coming in, and then I was like, oh my goodness, I got to go. So I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. What do we got?
Good. But let me first say that a lot of them were like, I love Frequent Miler, the blog, right? And I'm not reading any of those because I mean, I'm kind of modest about that. Don't tell anybody, but I am. Okay, so here we go. First one. I've been a Frequent Miler reader since the BN, before Nick.
Before Nick. Those days. Yeah. So back
all right, next one. So some of these I'm just taking a snippet of the overall comment. All right, next one. I'm assuming us typing frequentmiler.com somehow helps with SEO.
Gosh, congrats. I wish it did.
Yeah, maybe somehow it does, but no, I don't think it does. Yeah. But it'd be cool if it does.
It would.
Okay, next one. Congrats on the new frequentmiler.com domain. Wonder how many readers you'll get now who happen to be truckers looking for a rewards program. And I've joked about that. So in the post, I mentioned how the company that owned the domain until they finally let me buy it from them, they had the domain because they were planning to do a trucker. They're a shipping company, and they're planning to do a rewards program for their truckers called Frequent Miler. Ironically, they claim they're still planning to do that, but with Frequent-Miler as a domain. And I think that's great because inevitably what will happen is if they do roll that out, which I don't think they will, but if they do, there will be a bunch of truckers, I bet you anything, that will end up on our website, and hopefully they'll like it.
Yeah. I mean, fuel rewards, hello.
Right? Or just what credit card is good for buying gas? I mean, how much money would you make that way?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, gas and dining. I mean, you're on the road all the time, reimbursable expenses. I mean, I would think that there certainly could be some good overlap there, and probably an audience of people who aren't focusing a lot on rewards credit cards, but I probably should be. My goodness, with the amount of spend that they must put on cards over the course.
Right. Although, I don't know if now that I think about it, I don't know if they get to use their own credit cards or if they have like one in the truck to use, for everything. Yeah. So, anyways, moving on.
We'll find out soon.
Let's see. Next one. Living vicariously through the blog. Told my suitcases no travel this year. They keep asking. Now I'm dealing with emotional baggage. Right.
Nicely done.
And finally, ending on a very positive note, frequentmiler.com is the best thing to happen in 2020.
Oh, wow. Well, that it feels nice to hear that. Thank you very much.
It does. I mean, to be fair, 2020 didn't set a high bar.
I was going to say it simultaneously makes me think that we didn't beat out very much, but with the one or two good things that might have happened that I don't know about, we beat those things. So
right. So that's pretty good.
3 cheers. Yeah.
Right. All right. Time for our next segment. What crazy thing did Citi do this week?
So the crazy thing that Citi did this week was lent their expertise to Chase, because Chase actually did our crazy thing this week. Chase came out with a really interesting spending offer on the old Hyatt credit card, not the new World of Hyatt credit card, the old Hyatt credit card. So the one that, the one that was $75 annual fee was available until a year or two ago. I don't remember when the new World of Hyatt card debuted, but the old legacy card, you now have a spending offer on that card. I believe it starts November 1st. Spend $4,000, get a free category 1 to 4 free night certificate. That's in addition to the category 1 to 4 that you get with $15K spend on the card, right?
I don't think that
I'm
card
sorry,
had
anniversary
that.
Rather.
Anniversary. In addition to the anniversary one, right? So, what is going on here? I can't think of any time where anything like this has happened before. So there's an old card that they've been trying to get people to switch from to the new one, and now they're actually incentivizing the cardholders who have the old card without providing an equal or better promotion for the new card holders.
What?
I
What?
just I just
Like,
don't get it.
I don't understand. I don't get it at all. I mean, the whole idea when you get rid of a product and introduce a new one, I mean, they consciously decided not to have two different Hyatt credit cards, right? I mean, they decided to keep them, I guess, but at the same time,
Right.
not to continue offering two.
Right.
And yeah, when they do that, inevitably they want you to get the newer one for whatever reason. I just don't understand. They're incentivizing the old one, giving nothing to the new people, and really kind of giving a kick in the teeth to the people who have the World of Hyatt card, who have to spend 15,000 to get a free night. And now these people with the old Hyatt credit card only have to spend 4 grand to get a free night. I mean, that's
Right.
almost like a welcome bonus. When you look at it, 4 grand, you get a free category 1 to 4 night. Category 1 to 4 night could certainly be worth a couple $100. It's almost like a welcome bonus out of nowhere. It's not a
Right.
bad deal.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm totally mystified by all that, and like, so did they one make a big mistake and they meant to say, whoever came up with the idea meant to tell the people implementing it, this is only for the new card and not for the old card, and then it got lost in translation.
Right. Or the person's like, "Oh, we're going to do this on the Hyatt credit card." And they're like, "Okay, the Hyatt credit card." Yeah, they write that down, and then later on, and they're talking to the tech dealer, like, "The Hyatt credit card." And they're, "The World of Hyatt?" No, I mean, Bob said the Hyatt credit card. Are you
It
sure
could
that's
be.
what Bob said?
It
Yeah,
could
that's what
be.
Bob said.
Yeah, because they don't really have a good way. Officially the new one is called World of Hyatt credit card, and the old one is just the Hyatt
Right.
Visa, I think.
Right.
So
That's a
there's
mistake that certainly could have happened in a meeting, right?
it's definitely good. But the good news is, besides them giving us a nice little juicy topic for
Crazy thing.
for the crazy thing, is a great segue into our next topic.
Mattress Running the Numbers. If
There
you
you
have
go.
the old Hyatt credit card, that $75 fee card, that's what it is, 75, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So if you got the old Hyatt credit card, the one that is no longer available for new applicants, do you spend $4,000 for a free night certificate? Is it worth it? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
No question, huh?
I mean, so the certificate is good for a whole year, so that's pretty good. I
But it's
mean,
only good for a year.
it's only good for a year, so it's not. So actually, let's back up. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
it's not as good as I was thinking. So, um, I think in a recent post, you kind of came up with a number that sort of the points equivalent of one of these certs, right? I
Yeah, I
think you
did.
said,
Yeah. I
what did
said
you
I'd
say,
value.
9,000?
No, I think I said I would value this one at 8,000 because okay,
All
category
right.
1 to 4, category 4 is 15,000 points per night. And the reason that I valued it at 8,000, that's category 3. So that way I know I felt like valuing it there was fair for me because
Mhm.
category, because I figured that if I can't maximize it and use it at a category 4 for 15, I can probably use it at a category 3 for 12. And if neither, I'm not going to do worse than using it at a property that's 8,000 points a night. I mean, I feel like that's my worst case scenario. Most likely, I'll find an 8,000 point property. So that's why I valued it there. I mean, now I guess I could have valued it based on category 1 at 5,000 points per night, but reasonably, I'm going to look for a better opportunity, I think, with that type of cert. So I said 8,000 points because also you have to consider the fact that it expires in a year. It doesn't
Right.
going.
No, that's great. Let's go with 8,000.
8,000.
And that's very convenient mathematically,
Okay.
because if you have to spend 4,000 and what you're getting is basically 8,000 points or the equivalent, then you're getting an extra 2x on your spend. Extra 2 points per dollar is a way to think of it. So
True.
for that $4,000 spend, you're getting the equivalent of 3 points per dollar with that logic. Is it worth going out of your way for 3 points per dollar? Let me add one other thing. There are card specific bonuses going on right now for like grocery spend and Amazon spend, I
Amazon.
think.
Yeah, starting
If
November
the
1st.
if the Hyatt card qualifies for that, the old Hyatt card, could you get that new spend bonus on top of
On
this? In
top.
which case, I think this would be
I don't know.
probably a no-brainer for your grocery and Amazon spend, but I'm not sure
Yes.
anymore whether
Yeah.
4x
Yeah, I
is
don't
4x
know.
enough to make
No,
it a
4, 3.
no-brainer.
3, right? Because you're getting 2x the one,
3x.
and
I'm
then you
sorry.
get
You're
2 back
right.
before.
3x.
So 3, I mean 3x Hyatt points. I don't know. I don't think it's a no-brainer because there's so many Chase cards now that earn 3x or better in those point on various different categories.
Within categories. So
You
this would
know,
be for if you had, I guess this would be like if you have a category of spend that you're going to be spending on that is not within a bonus category.
Which is a big
Uh,
stretch because Staples has been
yeah,
running those fee-free Visa gift cards week after week after. I mean, it was Visa for 2 weeks and then MasterCard for a week, and now this coming week
right.
it's going to be Visa cards again. So I mean, if you have anything that you could split payment on, you could very easily. I mean, you buy $1,000 a day at Staples in those. So if you have an in cash card, you can walk out with 5,000 points every day of the week this coming week for no cost in terms of getting the cards. So yeah, I mean,
And not only that, so a bunch of people have +3 on their Amex cards right now because they referred someone during the promotional period.
also true.
So they've got 3 months of 3 extra points per dollar. So if you have that on like your gold card, for example, you've got 4 points per dollar everywhere,
Everywhere. Right.
everywhere,
Yeah. So
versus the equivalent of 3 here.
yeah. So
Huh.
no, I'm
Wow.
not convinced that it's worth it. You talked me out of it. I thought, yeah, probably for category 1 to 4. But so the things that I don't like about it are that it expires in a year, and we obviously just don't know what travel's going to look like over the next year. There are
Right.
some really great Hyatt properties that fit in that category 1 to 4 range. But I feel like if you look up a best of list, like a best category 1 to 4 Hyatt list, I bet that most of the lists you're going to find are going to list properties that are not in the United States that are probably not going to be accessible for most of us for probably at least the first half of 2021, or at least the first
Right.
quarter of 2021 anyway. So I feel like your time to use it's a little limited. It seems like an awesome deal, especially because everybody's always like, yeah, spend the 15,000 on the new World of Hyatt credit card for the category 1 to 4 cert. So then, of course, you'd spend 4 for the same thing, right? I'm not as bullish on the new World of Hyatt credit card and the free night certificate for the 15K spend as a lot of other people are. So maybe that's part of it too. I'm a little bit biased in regards to that. I don't get as excited about a category 1 to 4 Hyatt cert as I do an uncapped Hilton cert.
Sure. Yeah.
But so at any rate, yeah, I'm going to say no. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you convince
I
yourself?
talked myself out of it. Looking at it from a high level, it seemed like what a great deal. Spend 4,000, get a free night cert. But compared to some other good things that have been going on, it's not that exciting. It's not that I wouldn't necessarily do it. It's just it's not a no-brainer.
It's not a no-brainer. I think if you're somebody who is able to create a lot of spend, then yeah, I mean, of course you'd do it because if it's not really costing you anything in the sense that you're going to still do a bunch of spend on your other cards, I mean, then why not? I guess. And certainly, if you have a use in mind, especially if you have a 12,000 or 15,000 point use in mind that you're reasonably confident you're going to get to or use, or a couple of backup plans, then yeah, it might be
Right.
more worthwhile then.
Yeah. 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 Although, even with a lot of spend available, like I wouldn't opt to do that instead of
Instead of
earning 4x on my Amex Gold.
yeah.
But yeah, if I had a use in mind, then I think the math would change. And I didn't already have a free night cert, obviously.
Right.
The math would change a bit because then it would be like if I was planning to book a 15K night, then the math would be more like this is almost 4x extra because if it was like a 16K night, right? It'd be 4x extra, so a 5x everywhere, and then that would change the math for me.
Right. I think the other problem here, though, is that I think I'm not alone in the fact that I am like drowning in free night certificates right
I know.
Got like
Yeah.
so many free night certs because I
Same.
haven't been able to travel this year. So and I feel like there's a lot of other people who are probably in a similar boat there. So I'm also a little bit less excited about a free night certificate that expires in a year right now, just because I got so many of them. I'm excited about the Hilton ones that are valid for 2 full years because I feel like by 2022, I've got to be able to travel places by then, I would hope. And if not, then I've got bigger problems than my free night certificates, I guess. So I feel a little bit better about that. But the ones that expire in a year, I'm like, I've already got a bunch of those.
I totally agree. But thankfully, the programs, at least most of the programs, keep bailing us out by pushing back the expiration dates. And I think we're all waiting for IHG to push back theirs again.
Yeah, what's up with that? I mean, I know,
don't know.
I know that's not really mattress running, but what's up with IHG not doing anything? I mean,
no, I don't know. It's maybe they're waiting until like December 30th to say everyone with December 31st expiry dates are gonna get those extended, and hoping people will use them up before then or something.
I just don't think they care. I think they just,
Maybe.
yeah, I
They,
mean,
yeah, they don't really get loyalty, do they?
no,
Like,
no, they don't, right? I mean, it doesn't
yeah.
matter. They just give you more points. They don't give you breakfast. They don't give you any guaranteed upgrade. They give you more points. So I think that their loyalty program is really designed for people who just want to get a lot of points for vacation and reimbursable stays and that kind of thing. And that's what they see as the driver, is giving these opportunities for more points, not necessarily being loyal back and forth and in the same kind of a way that Hyatt wants to make you loyal.
You know what? I think that is a really good transition for our main topic for the day.
That is, it is.
Speaking of not
Loyalty.
valuing loyalty. Um, so the topic name, you came up with this one. I
I
love it.
did.
Delta Diamond devalued, but not destroyed.
That's right. Everybody likes the alliteration there, right? It's fun.
Do.
It's fun.
I
You want to
do.
say it again, don't you? Delta Diamond
Delta
devalued,
Diamond devalued, but not destroyed.
not destroyed.
Love it. Love it. All right.
So,
So what's going on with
on?
Delta?
So Delta totally destroyed their partner awards to Europe and Asia this week. So we saw that they increased redemption rates astronomically. Some of them are maybe 20%, but in some cases like 40%. And we're talking ridiculous prices. They already didn't have good prices for partner awards to Europe, and now they have really horrible prices. Like the cheapest you're going to get for business class one way to Europe now with a partner via Delta Sky Miles is 95,000 miles. 95,000 one way in business class. And when you compare that to
Yeah.
others, United I thought was high at 70,000. American is 57,500. But then you start to look at the foreign programs. ANA charges 88,000 round trip on Star Alliance.
Right.
Iberia charges 34,000 one way. So 95,000 as a minimum is crazy. And that's only if you book 60 days or more in advance of departure. If you're booking within 21 days of departure, in some cases, you're looking at 195,000 miles as the minimum price for a business
Right.
class ticket to Europe. It's insane.
Right. Right. It is. Now, there's I can sort of wring out a potential bright spot in all of that.
I'm looking forward to this.
Got to bear with me a little
Like,
bit
this
here.
is some magic you're going to work here.
So these numbers, these astronomical award price numbers, remind me of what Delta's award prices have been on their own flights to Europe for a while now.
See where
And
you're going.
so I think what might be happening is they're saying, I don't know if it's for all partners or select partners. They're saying, why shouldn't they be the same price? And so the one place where there might be a bright spot here is where the one good thing that's happened with Delta Sky Miles in the last, I'd say, 4 years is that they regularly have these Sky Miles like sales, like so they have these award sales, and some of those are really good, but they've always only been Delta metal only, and so it seems to me there's a chance that by synchronizing the prices, that the next time they do, you know, business class award sale to Europe, it might include Virgin Atlantic and Air France and KLM.
Maybe. I mean, I think that's a pretty decent guess, an interesting idea. I'm still not thrilled with that because, as you said, they do run these flash sales, and the flash sales are often good, but I wouldn't call them great still, because even when they do a flash sale, it's what, 120K round trip to Europe, which is like
Just
in line
no,
with everybody else, right? It's
yeah,
not
no,
like,
right. I mean, it varies, but we've seen, I think, as low as something like 85K round trip at one time, or 88, or it was
okay.
somewhere in that range. I remember being like, so good, I had to grab it. I didn't end up flying that flight, but I grabbed it,
As it goes, as it
which
goes.
is one of the advantages of Delta Elite status that I often talk about is the ability to book these awards, even if you don't know if you're going to fly them, because they're freely cancelable. Um, the Well,
But
actually, let's back
all
up.
right.
So that's not the only thing that happened recently with
Right.
Delta.
Right. So Delta actually made some positive changes for general members recently, in that they removed the change in cancellation fees for domestic awards for everybody.
Right. So in following on removing the change fees for paid flights for domestic flights, which that was copying everyone else. They also did awards as no fee for changing awards. So that's a good change. Another new positive change is that they've made their global upgrade certificates. These are things that only very top tier diamond elites get, but these certificates allow you to, upgrade from a dirt cheap economy fare all the way to lie flat business class. And they made them finally valuable on Air France. So previously you could use them on, for example, like KLM and Virgin Atlantic to upgrade from low, low cost economy or discount economy to all the way to business. Air France, it wasn't that way. You had to buy a, Y fare, expensive Y fare, and upgrade to premium economy, which would be a silly waste of those certificates, in my opinion. But now you could go from discount economy all the way to business. Even if you buy through Air France instead of buying through Delta, you can still do that. So some really nice, enhancements there. Also, this happened back in February, but they added Virgin Australia as a as someone you can use your upgrade certificates with. And so again, you could go all the way from a discount economy all the way to upgrade to business class with one of these certificates. So they made those more valuable. So some bright spots, but the big negative is about how like the few, there already weren't very many super good uses of Delta Sky Miles to get outsized value.
Right.
And now there's even less
than there used to be. And that's such a shame. And it's not only, we talk about business class because I think a lot of readers are very interested in flying in premium cabins, because that's something that, price wise might feel out of the range of reasonable when you're paying with cash, but it can feel like a really good deal when you're using miles. But this devaluation really takes away that good feeling in many instances. But then it's not even just that, it's economy class too. So, economy class went from a minimum of 25,000 miles one way to Europe to now 35,000 miles one way to Europe. And I mean, it's kind of insane to see that happen at a time when, basically very few of us can travel anywhere in Europe. I mean, Croatia you can go to, and Turkey or something. Very few places we can go to in Europe right now. So, I mean, there's nobody going, and goodness knows when it opens, there's not going to be the huge flood of demand that's going to keep prices very high. I'm thinking we're going to see low prices for quite a while. So those economy class prices, I think, are going to feel particularly ridiculous when airfares are going to be really cheap. So it's going to be very hard to get more than a penny a mile. And in many cases, you're going to be getting, I think, less than a penny a mile at those prices.
Maybe. So it'll be interesting to see, like, are they going to, once that happens, once travel to Europe opens up, if assuming prices are very low at the time, we'll see. Will they immediately have award sales, or will they just let it go like that with poor value? I don't know.
I mean, that's a good point, because they have run good award sales, and we've seen some pretty terrific ones, I feel like, within the United States. And I should temper my enthusiasm there. We've seen terrific ones in the sense that most programs have a standard price for domestic awards. Usually it's like 12,500 miles one way in economy class. And we've seen these flash sales with flights available for 5 or 6 or 7,000 miles one way, which seems great compared to traditional prices, though usually those are for routes and dates where prices are correspondingly
really cheap.
low.
Yeah, so, that's true.
I mean, you're still not going to get way outsized value, but you may at least get reasonable-ish value. So maybe we'll see that. You're right. Maybe we'll see flash sales. Maybe they're just setting it up, setting that MSRP really high so that they can give you all the discounts like being a car dealer, right?
That's exactly what I was thinking. That like, these are prices that you see when from outside, but once you walk in the door, maybe they'll have a sale. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to work in reality, but it'd be kind of funny if you log into the website and it'd be like, yeah, that's what we showed you at first, but let me talk to you more about this.
A special deal for you.
Might be something just for you we could do.
That is 10% off sound. It'll be a timeshare presentation before you know it. So does Delta care about loyalty? I mean, look at this. They've just almost decimated the value of Sky Miles on on flights to Asia or Europe. And so, I mean,
Right.
taking this way down, do they care about your loyalty anymore? They gave away one of your key benefits. I mean, and I say gave away your benefits because, of course, we all know that Greg is a Delta Diamond member. He and his wife, both Delta Diamond members. And one of the key benefits that he always talks about, and he mentioned this in the post, is the flexibility, the ability to book, just as he said a minute ago, to book flights speculatively and cancel them later if you're not going to fly them. That's super convenient to have placeholder options in case you're able to make the trip or in case you need a positioning flight, et cetera. But they gave that ability domestically to everybody. Did they?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they devalued the miles that you need to spend. I mean, if you're not familiar, again, to get diamond status, if you're not going to get it the old-fashioned way by spending a lot of money on Delta, then you have to
Right.
spend a lot of money on the credit cards, 250 grand a year.
Yeah.
Which is something you've been doing on the credit cards. So
Which luckily I know ways of spending money without really spending money. But yeah,
Right.
it's still a lot. And one of the justifications I've been able to use in the past is, well, I'm getting all these miles that are worth on average about 1.3 cents each towards future travel. But now I'm looking at these things saying, no, those are only worth about 1 cent each. And there I've never even seriously considered before using the pay with miles feature that Delta offers to cardholders, where if you have a cash flight, you can use your miles to offset like $50 at a time for 5,000 miles, basically. Every 5,000 miles subtracts $50 from how much you pay. I've never really thought about doing that because I've been able to regularly get outsized value, not huge value in the last few years, but 1.3 or better hasn't been that hard. But lately, when I've been looking at flights, it's been more like 1.1. And you know what? I think next time I'm looking at booking a international flight where I want business class, I think an option I'm gonna be looking at is there a cheap Delta flight where I can pay with miles for the economy flight and then upgrade with my certificate. So anyway, yes. So the cost of obtaining status is much higher because the value of the rebate I get back in the form of miles is much lower. So I think of it as
might
like,
not sound much when you hear 1.3 cents versus 1 cent. You might be like, we're talking about 0.3 of a cent, but we're talking about 0.3 of a cent over the course of hundreds of thousands of dollars spent.
right,
So
right.
It adds up.
Also, yeah. Also, I mean, 1.3 was kind of the number I was using as like the low bar, and if I'm, and I was usually redeeming for more than that. So if I'm really going forward going to be redeeming for 1 cent, it's even more than that, and so at the very it's probably at least 30% less to me, but probably more than that is how much less it's worth the rebate to me than it used to be, or at least used to feel like it was worth.
And the math gets murky there because we're talking about getting about 1 cent, per mile in value. But especially, I think with those close-in bookings becoming so astronomically high. I mean, one of the benefits of having miles
right.
is that you can book a last-minute flight, and it's usually the same cost as whether you booked it, 8 months in advance or you booked it 8 minutes.
That used to be the way we thought about miles.
Used to be the way, and so
Yeah.
that was one of the advantages. And when you look at 195 one way, talking about almost 400,000 round trip. I mean, business class fares just aren't that expensive to Europe all the time anymore. So you're not even necessarily getting a cent each if you have to book close in, or basically you're looking at those miles and saying, okay, they're no good for booking close in. They're only good when I can plan in advance, and then only worth a cent each. So you almost have to discount a little bit for that too, I think.
Well, again, I'm gonna peg them at a cent each because I'm gonna be looking at them for pay with points or pay with miles, not
Right.
for booking awards for most things. I think
that makes sense.
The one thing I'm losing out, I think, is the refundability of international flights. So when you pay with points, same as paying with cash, and any flights booked after the end of this year, we'll go back to the old policy where you can't freely cancel or change them. but aside from that, so in general, the rebate I get towards earning status has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
The value of having status has net gone down. And so, as you pointed out, the value of one of my favorite features, the ability to cancel or change awards for free, has gone down for two reasons. One, they gave it away to everybody for domestic flights. Two, I don't want to book international flights with miles anymore because they're too expensive.
Right. I mean, it's a double whammy. They just
double whammy for that.
Yeah, that's
the one place where it's gone up. The value is with the global upgrade certificates. So they're more widely useful. Just to give one like real world example where I'm kind of excited is the idea like when booking awards to Australia or flights to Australia, I'm usually looking for awards, and usually to find availability, I'm looking at flying through Asia because the flights that go, directly from like San Francisco or LA to Australia, or even Chicago, they just don't tend to have any availability in business class, right? This now gives me the opportunity to say, okay, wait for a good fare to be available, paid fare in economy on Virgin Australia, and or Delta, but and apply an upgrade certificate, and hopefully it looks like based on how they do the fare codes, I think the Virgin Australia ones will have better chance of having upgrade availability. So that's kind of how how I'm thinking about I would really use it. It's not just a hey, here's a theoretical good thing. This is something that once everything opens up again and I'd want to visit Australia in their summer when it's really hard to get awards, it could all line up where it's actually very valuable and much more valuable than before.
There's another way that I feel like Delta Diamond has become more valuable that you're missing in all of this. And that's the sense that you're going to have very, very, very little competition for awards because nobody in their right mind is doing this anymore. Like, who else is going to be going after Delta? Only somebody who has to fly Delta all the time, right? Somebody who's in a Delta hub, because nobody's going to spend towards that. I mean, there's no.
Except that you're so wrong, because Delta just came out with that easy status match. So if you had high level status in another airline, for the first time ever, they're allowing people to match to Diamond status. And I think it's like you have to complete, I don't remember, 5 flights or something. It wasn't that hard.
Low bar, yeah.
They had a low bar to qualify to keep the status. So you get it temporarily, and then you could keep it for the full year with a reasonable number of flights. And you get the choice benefits, I believe, once you meet the requirements and get Diamond for real. So wow. I mean, so
they really are giving away all of your status benefits, right? I mean,
they really are
like giving it away. 5 flights. I mean, you had to spend $250,000 on their credit cards, and some joker who had like not even top tier status with another airline could come in and fly 5 flights and get the same thing you got.
Yeah, I don't remember if 5 flights is the right answer, but whatever
it is. It's not very many. Might not be 5. Don't see the link in the description here.
Yeah. So anyway, things are looking pretty bleak as far as the value of pursuing status the old way, the way that I had been doing it.
So what are the good things about having Delta Diamond status still? I mean, what I know we kind of just tried to talk about it, but to kind of summarize it and put it together, I mean, why would anybody go after Delta Diamond status? What is it that you really value? The global upgrade certificates.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the biggest single thing. The free award changes used to be one of the biggest things, but no longer all that relevant.
I mean, I guess it depends on where you're going, because I did see that LATAM apparently is not affected by this. So if you
that's a really good point.
Use your miles to fly to South America, and LATAM was a nice pickup for Delta when they stole that from American and One World. So that does give you a lot of reach in South America. So if that's where you're looking to use your miles, then
yeah, actually, and another really good example is if you want to fly to Israel, you could use,
Right.
I think it's 85K Delta miles to fly Virgin Atlantic, I think business class to Israel, which is a very decent price. And then you get all those benefits of being able to change for free. So it's not gone, that value. It's just greatly reduced. I think I
Greatly reduced.
exaggerated.
Right.
Lots of other there's lots of other perks. At Platinum, you get regional upgrade certificates to make the chance of an upgrade for regional flights more likely. It pops you at the top of the list. You get free upgrades without applying certificate anytime there's availability, which is a diamond. I'd say more times than not, I get upgraded, but it's certainly not guaranteed. You get better, service. So they're very, very likely as a globalist, if I have an issue, to
As a diamond
waive any fees that might be associated with fixing it and accommodate what my needs are. And they tend to be, Delta tends to be good about that, even with people without status compared to most other airlines. But you could tell the difference as a globalist. But
as a diamond member there.
as a
globalist
wow.
before also. They don't care if you're a globalist.
That's
American
right.
might care if you're
so I'm getting mixed up.
Delta
So Hyatt is globalist top tier and Delta's diamond. Wow. I'm so they used to be the same, right? Hyatt's top tier used to be diamond.
Right.
And then we wouldn't be having these mistakes. So I blame Hyatt for changing to the stupid globalist name as messing me up in this conversation. So don't take this as anything I did wrong. It's entirely Hyatt's fault, just like our what crazy thing did Hyatt do this week? You blamed it on Chase, but I'll blame it on Hyatt. Why not?
There you go. There you go. So I do think though that there is another piece of this that actually what you just said is probably a bigger thing than it seemed to be. And I just got something that said it was unstable on my side. So I don't know if you're hearing me.
Okay.
So I think another piece that you probably need to consider, or that might, I don't know, push me towards wanting elite status with Delta, is the fact that things are very up in the air right now. And, but see what I did there, in the sense that flights are getting canceled sometimes. There's a lot of irregular operations. We don't know what the next few months are going to look like. And man, if 2020 taught people anything, it's that when stuff goes wrong, it can really go wrong, in the sense that the cancellations, the credits that people ended up with, and the headaches and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Delta, everyone I know who has status with Delta has always said that Delta takes really good care of diamond members. And that can be really helpful if you're in one of those situations where your flight has gotten canceled or changed significantly and you need something different. So there is some value in that, especially if you're a frequent traveler in a time of great uncertainty. Like the one
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. And there's a lot of other perks. I didn't want to get into all the little, picky ones, but you could use your choice benefits to get into the lounge. You could, there's a lot of good stuff. But anyway, yeah, so I think that pretty much covers it, right? So Delta, we're at a point where, I mean, the written down elite status benefits are better than ever, but because of the miles going down and because some of the elite benefits have trickled down to the general population, the overall feel of elite status, it feels like it's worth a bit less than before.
Right. And so then, of course, that is going to beg the question that you're going to address at some point for us. Is it still worth spending for Delta Diamond status? And so since we kind of completed there, I'm going to transition right into post roast here and say that your post about this says that you didn't do your homework. And I was like, what do you mean you didn't do your homework? You are the frequent miler. You do the homework that the teacher didn't assign. Like, how did you not do the homework on this? So, I mean, you look at how many miles you earn and how much it's worth now. And so status, you figured out the number, the amount that it's worth. And actually, let's forget about the miles for a hot second. What'd you come to for diamond status? Do you remember? It was at 2,000 something or other, $2,700?
Yeah, somewhere in the 2,500 range.
2,500 range. So you have to spend $250,000 to end up with something that's worth about $2,500. Does that seem worth it? I mean, do you have to do the homework on that? Like, Yeah.
Well, when I did the homework before,
Right.
in 2019 was the last time I ran all the numbers, and it was like January, I think, when I published that one. Um, the numbers came out favorable, but again, you're not just getting these perks worth spending 2,500 on. You're also getting hundreds of thousands of Delta miles, and that's the crux of the problem. Really, that's where it gets difficult. It's like, how much are you? So when I did it before, I here's why I didn't do my homework. No, actually, forget all that.
I have a hard
This is
time
getting too in
believing
the
you
weeds.
didn't do your homework. I mean, you didn't do your homework. How do you not do your homework on this? Like, no, like
I'm
I
gonna tell
said,
you what. I'm gonna tell you
I
why I
think you're
didn't
in
do my homework.
denial. You're in denial. You
No,
don't want to know how bad of a deal it is to spend for Delta
yes,
Diamond status. You're in
no,
denial.
that's true. That's exactly right. So yeah, I don't want I don't want to face the
The
reality
reality.
that I've got to stop this. So there's
That
no
you got a
reason for me to
problem and
face.
it's time to
That's
stop.
exactly what's going on. There's no reason for me to face it right now because I have diamond status secured for next year. I need to question it in January.
You're just kind of delaying the inevitable, finding out that it's not worth doing anymore, and you're going to be Delta
Well,
Platinum.
between now and January, Delta Sky Miles might become worth, 10 times more. We don't know what's
That's
going to happen.
that right there is some classic wishful thinking. So
So,
I hope
but
I hope the best for you.
imagine I did all that work and then they changed something drastically about the
True,
program
true.
between
Might as
now and
well wait.
January. Then it'd be like, I have to throw away all that homework.
Right.
That would be
Nobody would want to
crazy.
read that. That would be what crazy thing did Frequent Miler do this week, right? He did his homework too soon. So
Right. So, you don't want me doing work I don't have to. But speaking of post roast,
okay.
so your
Uh-oh.
your post on planning for miles and points afterlife.
Right.
You talked about all the things that need to be done are reasonable to do to make sure that anyone who survives you will know what to do with all the miles and points and credit cards and whatnot. And that's correct. That's good. It's a good reminder. But talk about homework. So these are things I've been meaning to do for a long time, and now it like brought it all like front and center. Like, oh my God, there's a lot of stuff I need to do to get my miles and points sort of trust fund set up and ready to continue if something happens to me. And so I blame you for making my life more stressful.
Adding stress, huh?
And for making me not do my homework for the Delta stuff because it got on the list below
getting everything in order, huh? Getting all
below getting everything in order, which also didn't get done because it's too big of a project.
Right.
And so,
but I mean, you got millions,
I'm never going to get
millions and
done.
millions of miles. I mean, we're talking about, like, I probably am not exaggerating here, tens of thousands of dollars worth of miles, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think that it's crazy to not do some planning for that. And I hadn't really been thinking about it at all until it came up in the Chicago seminars. I thought this little 15-minute presentation was really interesting. It was interesting seeing the comments from people during the presentation too, that were talking about what they've done and in their families and how they've handled it. And I was like, I didn't even think about this really. Like, I mean, I've kind of, on a surface level, every now and then explain things to my wife, this and that. We got logins for the banks and stuff all laid out. But then I realized she has no idea some of the programs we got miles in or how to log into them or what the loyalty number. And I was like, wow, that would definitely stink if she all of a sudden lost these things that, we spent all this time gathering. So it's worth putting the time into. With truth be told, I haven't finished it either. So,
so after I read your post, I turned to my wife and said, "Do you know how to contact Nick if something happens to me?" Because I'm expecting you to coach her through what to do.
Right. And I figured that probably that's what my wife would do too. She'd like send an email to Greg and be like, "What do I do, Greg?"
So, that would be totally cool.
Kind of what I figured. So, so I mean, we get to count on that, but most people don't. So
right.
Got to have something in mind. And there was one reader who commented on the post, and she also had talked about it during the Chicago seminars also, and she had said that by her kids' request, she had kind of simplified things into fewer programs and that sort of thing, because her kids didn't want to have to learn how to manage all these points and things. And I thought I wouldn't have even thought about asking my kids, when I get to that point someday, like, you okay managing all this? And like, should I reduce the workload? And so anyway, food for thought, right?
Yeah. So I had to deal with all this with my dad. He had a bunch of points in different programs, and luckily, I was already controlling the stuff, so it really wasn't that hard for me. But your post reminded me. So I was actually planning to book a hotel room for my son who's about to go on a road trip, and I was trying to decide between spending 12,500 IHG points or 5,000 Hyatt points for his stay. I read your post. I was like, I forgot my dad has a bunch of IHG points that I want to burn down. Definitely go with IHG because it's essentially not costing me anything. I'd rather sort of use up that pool than So anyway,
so wait, post roast.
So thank you.
You're telling me how I just saved you a whole bunch of points with post roast. Thank you. I'm glad.
Well, 5,000 points.
Well, 5,000, right? Whole bunch. IHG would like you to think it's a lot of points, right?
Right.
We're gonna give you an extra 5,000 points for this promotion. So all right. So that then I guess brings us to the question of the week, right?
I think it does.
Okay, so question of the week. I actually am going to break the rules a little bit here because I had two really good questions and I didn't want to exclude either one of them. Two questions.
What makes you think you're allowed to break any rules here?
Because I make them. The question of the week is my segment.
That's true. All right. In that case.
All right. So two different questions, and I think they're both worth answering. So the first one, I'll give you the easier one first, and then we'll do the other one. They're both.
Can I guess the answer before you ask it?
You can try. What do you think?
I think the answer is it depends.
Well, that's see, then you'd be wrong. So so question number one came from Vincent, and this is one that he sent to me through Facebook, and so he had a question about the Hyatt mattress runs. So Hyatt offering this opportunity for a bunch of elite nights. We talked about it a whole bunch. Said, hey Nick, I have a question about a hypothetical Hyatt globalist mattress run, particularly as it intersects with the double nights promotion. The frequently asked questions on the promotion's webpage explains that only eligible nights qualify for the double nights, and goes on to explain an eligible night is one where an eligible rate is paid. The frequently asked questions and terms and conditions don't clarify anything beyond that. That's a little bit ambiguous, I think is what he meant, and begs the question, what is an eligible rate? So can it be under a corporate code? Can it be part of a package? Can it be an extended stay rate? Can it be the work from Hyatt rate, etc.? So he's wondering how this, how do you figure it out? How do you know that the rate you've booked is a qualifying rate?
It depends.
You're kind of right. But
no, I mean, actually, I think when you book if you book through Hyatt, it's going to be an eligible rate. So the only time you're going to get a rate that's not eligible is certain like conference rates might not.
But you book that through Hyatt?
Sometimes you have to book through a conference.
Okay,
and
true.
And those cases, you might get a room where it doesn't have point earnings or anything. So if you book with points, you book through Hyatt with any cash rate, put in a code, it's going to be point earning. Oh, well, it's going to be elite night earning, which is what you care about for this, and it'll be eligible.
See, now Greg is very confident when he says that, and I feel like he's probably right, but we know that, for example, I want to say it's Choice Privileges or maybe Wyndham have these like minimum dollar figures where if the rate is under like $40 a night, then it's not qualifying. Now, I haven't seen that with Hyatt before, but I don't know. You get a cheap enough Hyatt rate. Is it qualifying? Here's what I told Vincent. Here's how you know. You go to your email confirmation, and in the email confirmation, there's rate information. And it says like under the details, it says rate details. And right in there's a sentence that'll either say eligible for points and elite nights or not. In fact, I think if I get the screenshot right here. So it says, oh, took me a second
It
longer than
says
I'd hoped.
it depends.
It says rate is eligible to earn points and tier credit. So that line will be there under rate
That's what you're
information and
looking
your
for.
confirmation email.
Yep.
That's what you're looking for. Okay, so that's the answer to that one. I thought that was a good one because there's probably a lot of people out there that have mattress runs of some sort booked because this is a great promotion, and you do want to make sure that it's eligible. So
Right.
that's question number one. Question number two, totally separate, totally different. This one came in via email, and you probably saw this one, but I thought this is worth talking about. So Edward asked us, I received the Barclays JetBlue Plus MasterCard. Now, it must have applied a while ago because it was the 60,000 mile offer. He called customer service to confirm that he spent the amount to qualify for the bonus. He says, the rep told me I spent $2,002. Spending requirement was $2,000. Rep said he spent $2,002. Said, so I waited for the bonus, which was never credited to my account. When I inquired, I was told the $99 annual fee was included in the amount I spent on the card, that $2,002, when the rep said that he spent $2,002, and therefore he didn't spend the required $2,000 to qualify for the 60,000 bonus miles. In your experience, is this proper on their part? And if this happened to you, what would you try and do to get the points? You didn't get the 60,000 points. You paid the fee. What would you do?
Right. That's rough because the rep gave him the wrong answer. I mean, the rep should have known that the annual fee does not count towards the spend. So, overall, they did the right thing in not awarding the points because he hadn't spent the required 2,000 because the annual fee doesn't count. That's a known thing. It's true with all credit cards, as far as I know. The rep did the wrong thing. I think his best hope is to escalate the problem and sort of ask for a one-time exception, or even ask for more time to complete the spend, or something along those lines. But that said, I haven't heard success stories in similar situations.
No.
It seems reasonable that they would allow it, but it just, for whatever reason, is not something that we hear people say, I pushed it up the chain and they fixed it for me.
No, not in that case where you counted the annual fee, thought you made met the purchase requirement because you counted the annual fee. I mean, that's a gotcha that people do get hit by, and we get people asking us about that often. Does the annual fee count? Another question we get sometimes is on the Amex cards that offer airline incidentals. Does the spend that got rebated by the airline incidentals count? And I believe that spend does count, but it does get a little murky. It got rebated. Did you spend enough, et cetera?
Right.
So how do
right.
you avoid this problem? I mean, obviously, you spend $2,000 without counting the annual fee. All right. So that's obvious, number one. But how do you personally make sure that you do that? Because, I mean, it can get kind of tedious tracking how much you've spent.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I always try to use one of the techniques to increase spend and just knock out the minimum spend requirements, ideally all in one shot, so that I just know, But I do keep, when I'm not doing that all in one single shot, I do keep everything in a spreadsheet, and I put in, every time I spend money on a card, I put in how much, and then I have the spreadsheet calculate how much more do I have to go to meet that spend. And so, I'm pretty sure when I do it that way that I've met it. I don't tend to use those cards for like everyday, like $5 purchases, because it's harder to keep track. So I use it more for the bigger purchases and get it through that way. But how about you?
Sense.
What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I do. And one of the things that I told Edward when I responded to him, and I wonder what the case is for you, is that I don't usually cut it that close. I mean, $2,002 is closer than I tend to cut it. Now, I have a feeling maybe you're going to tell me that you spend 2,000 on the button, but I usually overspend by at least a couple $100 on the spending requirements, which I know isn't maximizing value because I could have put those couple $100 on a card that earned better. But I'm just always wary of cutting it that close. I don't want to miss the chance for 60,000 miles. I'm sure Edward was upset, and rightfully so, that he missed $900 ish worth of miles by less than 99 bucks, 97 bucks. So I mean, that stinks, that feeling. So in order to avoid that, I always try to spend a few hundred above and beyond. Do you worry about that, or you just try
No,
to?
I don't do that. So, like, for example, let's say I have a tax payment to make and I'm going to pay the 1.87%. I actually calculate, like, let's say it's a $3,000 minimum spend. I calculate like how much money plus the fee will add up to $3,000
exactly
and like 1 cent. And that's how much I apply to that card.
See?
Yeah.
And that's smart.
So
it's better than what I do.
a little bonus content now that's just occurred to me. I'm going to give you a quiz.
Pop quiz. I can edit this out,
That's true. You can. So there is a bank, I guess there could be more than one, but there's one that I know of where business card authorized users, so like employee cards, spend on those cards do not count towards minimum spend for a new sign-up bonus for your overall business card account. Do you know which bank that is?
First National Bank of Omaha. I'm just making that up. I have no idea. No, I definitely, the authorized user spend doesn't count. No, who is it?
U.S. Bank.
U.S.
Bank. This happened back when Radisson Rewards was Club Carlson, and they have the business version. And some people got caught with this, where they put all the spend on the employee card, and it didn't count.
Oh, that stinks. That's terrible. Yeah.
Right.
What a bummer.
So I mean, this was years ago that I found out. So it's possible they've changed that since then. But no, it was, back then I dug into the terms, and sure enough, it was actually pretty clearly written, but not something you would have thought to look for.
Right. Who would have thought of that? You just thought that the money gets spent on the account and that's good
Should
enough.
Count.
Right? And with business cards, there's no downside to adding a spouse, like, because generally it's not going to add to the 524 count or anything. And so if you're the person who does most of the spending in the household, it would seem reasonable if your player two opened a card to just add yourself as an authorized user and then go to town and meet the spending requirement. But that's a really good point. I'll have to now keep my eye out for those types of things in the future. So all right, there you have it. Avoid underspending and some good advice there to always keep a close eye on the fine print.
Yes. So all right. Now I'm looking forward to the goodbye song now.
That's right. So this week,
it's going to be different.
If you've enjoyed what you've been hearing and you'd like to subscribe to our email list so you can find out more about what we have to say every week, you want to go to, you ready? frequentmiler.com/subscribe. And then this is where I'm going to hopefully insert that music that's like, what? frequentmiler.com/subscribe. No more the. You don't need to have that in there anymore.
No more the. You could put in the if you really want to.
You could. As long as Greg wants to pay for that domain anyway, you'll be able to. frequentmiler.com/subscribe. So that's where you'll get on our email list and you can join our Facebook group, follow us on Twitter and all those types of things. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a like. Leave us a comment. Same goes for it if you're listening in podcast form. Leave us a comment. Give us a like, thumbs up, whatever it is on those podcast platforms so that we can move our way right on up the ranks. So thank you guys very much for listening. It's always fun being here, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.